night because it was kind of cold outside. And then this morning I sent him a tweet. I was like, hey, Sam, hope you're all right. Hope my jacket is all right, too. He's like, what jacket? I was like, no.
What I like about you giving him your jacket is that it was like that night 4 years ago, you took off his clothes and he slept naked in your room. And then this time at Home Story Cup, you're clothing him now.
Well, at least one of us is mature.
So if history serves true, next Home Story Cup, naked bling.
Well, I'll be down for it. Anyway, guys, as you guys can see, it is time for some StarCraft 2. Day 3 is truly live right now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the McDonald's story. I think it's a classic.
Did I do it okay?
I think you did it justice, honestly.
I hope you guys found it as funny as we did, because we could not stop laughing and giggling about that for the entire night, because...
And it was like one of the other funny things is that Armin was actually like, he was feeling very bad.
He felt like we were mad at him.
Like 7 people were just dying in the van and Armin was actually just quiet. He felt so guilty up to the point where he did get us a kebab. And then we got back in the car and I said, guys, what do you want? And then Armin laughed as well. That was beautiful. Anyway, Snoot, talk to us about this TvZ.
Okay, so far it's been opening up completely standard. TLO just open hatch first, not drone scouting, not anything, and then going into gas. Flash opening up with a single Reaper into reactor, and of course the CC on the low ground, so very standard play here from both of them. Flash actually sent his Reaper in the wrong direction, and TLO got the lucky first scout with his Overlord, so yeah, I would say TLO is in a pretty good spot now.
Advantage TLO.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has to keep the Reaper back, actually, because he's not sure if Zerglings are on their way to stop that CC on the low ground.
He's playing it safe. I remember playing as Flash on merry-go-round, and I used the early 13 pool, and I was able to cancel the low ground CC, so maybe he thinks, you know, because TLO is my teammate, maybe there's something going on there.
He's like, never again against a foreign Zerg. Those guys are crazy.
Did it work?
Oh yeah, it worked. I got the cancel.
Nice.
But yeah, TLO's, won the game too.
Nice.
He went
you got to tell that story all the way, man.
No, that's such a sad story.
No, he has to stop in the middle of the story.
Oh, he went
like, I was
to stop 2 games in. That story ends 2 games in.
Those are the worst stories, yeah. Did I take a game off of Flash? I took 2. No more.
No more.
That was a best of 3. Expected.
If only.
See a few more drones on the way so far for TLO, just playing it very economic. Stopped mining gas as well as soon as he had enough gas to start speed. So other than that, this is a very straightforward opening so far from Dario.
Triple command. Triple command from Flash as well. So both players just opening up with massive macro builds here.
Snoot, talk to me about mid-game on merry-go-round. We've seen kind of the early meta for Zerg on this map was a lot of Roach, Baneling, Bus. It was also very in fashion at the time, of course, in ZVT in general, but are you okay standard ZVT here, or is there points of concern that you're looking to end the game before Hive? I mean, talk to me about merry-go-round.
The third base is very open, and we saw this in Patreus versus Daishi, for example, that you can take advantage of big upgrade timings like the 2-2 timing to go for a huge swell of Lings and Mutas on the third base of Terran. It's very open. But likewise, the Zerg can also be in a bit of trouble in the early mid-game if Terran goes for Hellions and Banshees, for example. We saw that in Saxtree versus Teja. But it doesn't look like Flash is opting for a build like Hellion Banshee. He's just going for Hellions. But still, the third base is
pretty quick though. I know it's not too crazy, but he started it as soon as the tech lab was added. So this is something that Flash could actually use as well to be perhaps a little bit aggressive. But we see both engineering base going down as well, so it's unlikely there's going to be too much aggression of 1 Rex and 1 factory. We'll see what he's able to achieve with these Hellions. I don't think he's going to be able to get all that much done.
Got a tumor?
So far, yeah, okay, that's nice. But so far, TLO, it seems like he's setting himself up in a very reasonable position. Like everything going according to plan.
Yeah, TLO is playing very safely here. He's got a spine, but he's going to lose a few drones here, and that's
a little
bit sloppy. Very good for Flash.
A little unnecessary for Dario as well, with the hatchery not being done yet, having no creep there, having don't have the queens to protect those drones. Lost a couple, not really the end of the world, as Funka showing us. 5 drones have fallen so far.
Yeah, it's way more safe to 2-base it for a while.
That's what you get with Dario, though. I've been casting him for a long time, as we all have, and of course Snoot being his teammate. He's like, he is known as the mad scientist doctor, like he does this crazy stuff, but what you also get with him, you're good for about 1 gas with 2 drones on it, mid-game, you're good for some weird sloppy things kind of bleeding out, but that's okay, that's just kind of, he himself says he likes to push himself beyond what even he can do. He tries to do really chaotic, complex things, and it ends up looking sloppy, but that's also the charm of TLO. That's how he beats people, is by being very complex and all over the place.
Snoot, are you worried about the fact that TLO has not seen the main base of Flash once? Or do you think he pretty much has it figured out?
I don't know. It seems like he's playing against triple commands, so either way he gets a good result, you know, nonetheless.
So you don't think he's worried about anything, or you don't think there's something that he should have seen that he didn't see yet?
No. I mean, he should have scouted, of course, but I think right now he's about to see the third command. So.
It's pretty weird the Hellions are back at home, by the way. They're getting repaired, but usually those are out on the map even when they take damage.
Yeah.
So I think this is once again, yeah, there's but that armory is intact, or it's in conjunction with the upgrades that are about to finish the 1-1. So he's looking for the 2-2.
Yeah, but I think there's a very good chance that he just wants to keep these Hellions alive at all costs, wants to repair them as well, and then the moment he starts being aggressive with his first meta packs, combat shield finishing up 1-1 upgrades and having stim, and then he morphs these Hellions into Hellbats. That's a little similar to what MMA did against Live on Foxtrot Labs, I believe, at the recent BlizzCon.
Yes and no. Like we're getting to 11 minutes, and it's going to be about 12 minutes before that ever takes shape. I don't think that's a real timing. I think one of the things that actually is a part of how Flash plays, he has to be aware of all the all-in potentials, like especially against a player like TLO, who he might think, I think TLO has to all-in against me to have a chance to win, and as we can see, at least up until now, Dario's playing completely straight up. He wants to go the distance with Flash here.
Yeah.
But here is that timing you were talking about.
And I think this is going to be relatively difficult to deal with. If we take a look at army supply, it's 51 against 37. Bailing speed is not ready yet. We have 6 Bailings. There are 6 or 7 more morphing, but these Hellbats are going to do a pretty okay job in soaking up a couple of these Bailings. Dario really needs his second wave of Bailings as soon as possible. Will Flash be able to focus?
TLO is doing a pretty great job. There's the pickup. The Hellbats died pretty easily. And he's going to go inside the main, but Dario's already there to greet them at the base. I don't think this is enough Zerglings, but he is slowing it down. And with that 4th base coming up, kind of away from the Terran player Flash here, this is not a bad hold so far. They're equal in supply. The creep spread hasn't been deterred that much. Dario's doing pretty good. TLO, excuse me.
Actually, he did more than just pretty good. I was a little bit surprised because I thought Flash maybe could have done a better job in trying to focus fire the second wave of Banelings, but it's very difficult, of course, on creep. So far, TLO really holding his ground. Creep spread is definitely helping him a lot as well, made that engagement a lot easier.
Yeah, but soon comes the second wave, so TLO still has to make only units to hold this off as well as he can. So we're going to see some multi-pronged attacks here. Flash will use the high ground on the 4th here, while maybe potentially dropping the main at the same time. So we'll see how TLO is going to respond to this.
Yeah, I was worried about that as well. He's actually going to join forces here, but note, there's just the one Hellbat. There's no Widow Mines with the Force. Otherwise, it's pure Marines. And this is really susceptible to a bad split getting bopped by a
TLO
Bailing
is making a big move here. He's going to counter and sacrifice his 4th.
Yeah, it's an empty 4th, so I guess he says, sure, take it. Moving in, he's going to actually bypass the 3rd, go into the natural. There's actually
depots are raced right now.
Units there.
And no Banelings in this attack, so the links are just melting super fast. I'm not sure how to feel about this move. I don't think it's been very
let me tell you how
so
you
far.
should feel about it. It was really bad. If he had a huge counterattack with Banelings and stuff like that, I could see it, but he threw his 4th away to kill a clump of like Marauders and Hellbats. That's really nothing.
Flash being up 20 supply right now as well. In
Is
this phase of the
TLO
game,
going to catch this army? We'll see. 2-2 is almost done for Flash as well, but this engagement is 1-1 against 1-1. Banelings coming in. And
gets a couple of reasonable connections there with his second wave, but in the end, TLO still has to disengage.
And Flash kept all of his medevacs there.
The reinforcements have arrived for Flash now as well, so that makes his bio army a lot more intimidating and a lot more scary.
And right now we have that 2-2 timing, but it's not in the favor of the Zerg this time, and Flash is pushing forward with better upgrades.
Dario's trying to buy some time. He's going to pull back, but he can't buy any more time. He's here at the 3rd. Is Flash. Pushes forward. There's just not seemingly a large number of Banelings. Some are morphing in right there on the right side of the screen. Not a huge Mulus clump. He's trying to find the right connections. He goes to the right side. The medevac's still remaining untouched. A lot of these Marines are starting to get cleaned up a little bit, but they're spreading so much. It's an expensive clean, and here come the reinforcements.
Actually, I'm very surprised that TLO did such a good job in cleaning up everything on the left side over here. He still has a couple of Banelings morphing as well. Like, Flash is a lot of supply, but it's mostly in medevacs. Right. Yeah, that's actually a really good hold by Dario.
Not bad. He gets 2 medevacs as well. Starting to cut into that. He was down 20 supply, and it's kind of right back at that 20 supply, but they maintain. They trade fairly okay. 2-2 does come in for the Zerg player Dario, or TLO here, excuse me, and he's going to be attacked over at this newly made 4th base. His Bailing count just seems always really low. We've seen a lot of Zergs go kind of high on that. Yeah, he's not floating any gas.
The muta count is super high right now, maybe a little bit too high. We've seen Zergs like Su, for example, stay really low on the mute account and use a lot of Banes and
That's all right.
Zerg lanes.
In the,
Very
end,
nice
Flash,
explosion.
in the end, Flash is still okay with that trade though. He picked up a hatchery, but you could say that for TLO it wasn't the worst case scenario either, because he does still have that potential fort base on the left side of the map.
Yeah.
The biggest problem I think right now is that there is no way that TLO has money to go up too high for dropping infestation pit, and of course the 3-3 upgrades are on the way for Flash. And the moment it's going to be 3-3 against 2-2, that's when TvZ becomes pretty difficult.
Oh, there's actually just one Marine in that bunker, but he's going to respect the bunker and go inside the main. He's going to fight a couple of missile turrets. But in doing so, this fourth base, the tactic you talked about earlier, Rotterdam, just kind of elevating up a few units, shutting down that fourth base. He actually got the hatchery last time as TLO went for the counterattack, the kind of half-hearted counterattack. This time around, Flash is being much more safe. But notice, each time Flash is challenging these fourth bases, he's just at the edge of creep. I mean, he actually did come in on that right side last time, but otherwise, he's taking fights off creep, and that's really beneficial for Flash.
This is going to be a rather tricky fight for TLO.
Oh, the mutas are so low.
Yeah. And he doesn't have too many banelings. All right,
Oh,
good
that
pick
pickup
up there by Flash as well.
And here comes the reinforcements from the flank, and TLO will tap out. Flash is going to take this one with a 70 supply advantage at the end of that. TLO had some really good ideas, and he played, I mean, we saw a really good defense from the initial first two waves, but the choice to go for that counterattack, giving up the early fourth, I really feel like that was kind of the turning point for him.
Yeah, I feel like everything went a little bit downhill from there. They just had, the way their tactics played out, TLO always got the slightly worse end every single time, and then Flash was able to close it out, even if he opened super safe, and the TLO kind of, took advantage of it.
Yeah.
It was still not enough to keep Flash back from killing.
I think overall it was a pretty solid game from TLO, especially in the start. Transferring those drones, solid. No, it was by accident.
I can't hear that word normally anymore.
I think sending over those drones, like even though it doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world, like losing 5 drones early on, still 5 drones. And if he keeps those alive and he just pushes those Hellions back, because Flash really wasn't that adventurous with his Hellions at all. He was playing very conservative with them. He wanted to keep them alive. He knew that he wanted to use them as Hellbats as well. If TLO has a few more extra drones and he doesn't have to replace those, then maybe he has a few more banelings. And then instead of counterattacking, he is going to try to defend the fort base, because the majority of the TvZs, if everything is standard, often comes down to that first or second big battle at the fort base of ZerG. If ZerG keeps it alive, the game is not over, but that's when ZerG becomes very fun. You have a lot of gas, you can do a lot of cool stuff. If you lose that fort hatchery, you really have to make something crazy happen. Otherwise, eventually, you're going to be out macroed.
Yeah, but Merry-Go-Round is a very tough macro map for ZerG as well. And I'm a little bit curious about the next map here. It's going to be Foxtrot Labs.
Don't Zergs hate this map for ZVT? Like, it feels very narrow, very difficult, very short distance between naturals.
Especially the spawning positions with the top left against the bottom right, the ones with the destructible rocks between the natural and the third base. I don't really see Zergs enjoying that map all that much, so I'm a little bit curious if this is Flash's map choice or if it's TLO's.
I mean, TLO could have vetoed it if he really hates it. Obviously, he didn't do it.
Maybe he's got something special planned for this one.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little, maybe some proxy hatchery shenanigans. Is this possible?
Maybe some gold-based stuff?
Maybe. Oh, maybe some good old liquid
gold-based
baiting boss. Hell yeah.
TLO's the kind of guy that can do all those things, man. He's going to need to. I mean, that last game was fairly standard. A couple of mistakes. I do feel like those early drones were just unnecessary. Didn't need to lose them. The decision to go for that counterattack, that was questionable. Otherwise, his upgrades were in sync with Flash.
Otherwise, it was solid.
What's that?
Otherwise, it was pretty solid.
That's what I'm saying. The mute account maybe a little bit too high, but a couple of his fights, he was actually really looking okay. ZerG so desperately need that fourth base to keep up with the 3-base Terran, and he never really got there. He had the 1 gas mining at one point in time, but every time he was taking a fourth, it was like a minute later he was losing said fourth. So look to Dari to either do something weird or perhaps hold 4 bases, and then he can go toe-to-toe with the Flash, maybe.
Alrighty, as you guys can see, we are loaded into the second map of this series. Over here on the right top side of the map, we have our Red Terran player hailing from Korea. He's up 1-0. Give it up for KT Rollster Flash.
And here in the bottom left, we have, from Germany, it's TLO. And I gotta say, the spawning positions here definitely favor the ZerG. You get the easy 4-base setup. So this is, I would say, the luckiest draw for TLO.
Not bad. Not bad. He can take that third, kind of spread the creep. The fourth, fairly accessible over there. There is a ramp leading down into the third, but you have some open space, and you don't have to fight at the base of a ramp leading into that third. So it's not bad defensively. Also, one of the ways you kind of look at it is the distance between the natural and the third. While it's a little bit longer than on a lot of the maps, it's kind of a natural direction you're going to go with your 2 or 3 queens to get there. So, I mean, well, would you sit on 2 bases longer, or if you face like Hellion Banshee, would you delay the third, I guess?
I definitely think it's okay to take it fast third.
It's okay
but
to take it?
Usually you definitely want to have some roaches to back it up, I feel.
That's what I thought, but I realized I was sitting next to you, and I was like, I'm not going to go out on a limb on this. I'm just going to ask the expert.
Don't you think, though, Snoot, when you play ZVT on this map, that the forward base can be very difficult to defend when they like always camp on the high ground and they kind of force Zerg to take a bad fight because you have to roll up the ramp and you don't have vision of it all the time?
Yeah, definitely. So breaking down the rocks there and spreading creep on the top is super important.
Alrighty.
And if you do, that's what the saving grace of this map is. If you were like forced to go up a ramp and fight, this would be a terrible like Zerg graveyard map. But the fact that you can have multiple pathways means you can not necessarily turn that in your favor, but it's okay. Like if you can flank attack from over there and the Terran's counting on you coming up the ramp, that can set up some nice possibilities. Or like lane counterattack to the third.
Yeah, counterattack's definitely super strong. If the Terran decides to park on top of your 4th base's Zerg, then you can just go on the southern side of the map and launch attacks towards Terran's 3rd base, for example.
While the first Reaper is making his way across the map, I would like to let everybody know at home as well that we have a B stream going on, because we have 2 groups going on at the same time. So there's a lot of StarCraft 2 games being played on the B stream as well. All your pro players are casting there. Also lots of other, basically everyone is just rotating in and out. So if you guys want to watch some of the different games, there's also a Take TV B stream, or I think it's called the Black stream.
So as the Reaper comes in here, just want to point out that this game, build order-wise, looks very much like the previous one, and we actually see a drone getting sniped here.
So
very good start for Flash.
A little bit of mining time lost there for TLO as well.
Also note how the circling speed is getting delayed by this. TLO has yet to pull drones out of gas and start the circling speed. Maybe a second drone going
I almost
down.
feel that it must be a fake, even though it's really weird because he could have just started it, but if it was a fake, he could still cancel circling speed. But that's very late because he had like 160 gas. That's not a TLO mistake normally.
No, but it's easy when you're playing on a big stage and maybe a bit nervous. So, this has happened to me in practice as well. If I've been able to keep up with excellent Reaper control, like we can see from Flash here, counterattack in the north as well. A couple of links sneaking in actually. So TLO is getting a pretty good scout here.
It's a happy little Zergling in the main base of Flash, but in the end, I think this is actually very frustrating. I think the Reaper
is doing some work, being super annoying.
Yeah.
He hasn't really killed any more drones.
No, he hasn't killed yet, but I think that he might be able to get one more. Now
Lots
the queen is getting really angry at the extractor. It's like, Alrighty.
So the Reaper is going back home. Flash just decided to play it safe. And third command going down, just like last game.
Yeah, very similar build here from Flash. Of course, roughly at the 10 or 11 minute mark in this game, that's when his production will truly kick in. And that's when, the Terran macro is basically just going to explode. We have a bunch of Zerglings on the way for TLO. Now, that's kind of interesting, because that's not something we see all the time. Snoot, talk to me about these 12 Zerglings that we have in production right now.
We also see a Baneling nest going down. So I think maybe TLO is going to go for something a little bit aggressive. Maybe he's trying to catch the Hellions here at the 3rd base. Let's see. Is he going to catch those Hellions? I'm thinking maybe it could be that he lost his confidence in going up against Flash and Macro, just like I did.
We have a small issue with Jeff's microphone. If you guys think, man, Snoot and Roddy are so mean, they don't let InControl talk at all. It's actually because his microphone is not working now, so we're trying to fix it. That's why I sound a little bit distracted. Anyways, we will try to solve this issue as soon as possible. For now, we see a bunch of happy Zerglings from TLO in the middle of the map. Trying to get us around on the Reaper or the Hellions. It's not going to work.
It was just to scare and unlock the 3rd, so no all-in coming. But I think that's the best choice here.
I think at this point, TLO has to be kind of careful though, because he made those 12, 14 Zerglings, but he's losing quite a few of them now, and there are 6 Hellions on the map. If he loses all these links, it can actually be rather frustrating for him to stabilize in the later stage of this game.
Yeah, and there's no Roach Warren on the way either, but there is a lair, so I'm a little bit curious to see what sort of tech TLO is going to go for here. No Roach Warren as of yet, so maybe some sort of Baneling speed attack?
Yeah, both engineers.
There's no evolution chambers just yet.
There's a good chance that he just sends over a few drones and then he just starts producing nothing but Zerglings, and he just goes all out on a Zergling It's kind of similar to what Life did in a couple of his games, you know, where he just hides a bunch of banelings. And
Yeah,
he does it in a phase in the game where you don't really expect. It's not like a straight up baneling bust, but it's also it's definitely not a macro build either because it's a massive, massive investment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you again, Jeff. Welcome back.
Thank
Jeff,
you.
I know that TvZ is not your matchup, but come on, man, speak up.
I'm trying, guys. I just want to be a gracious co-commentator. Spire up pretty damn early, by the way.
Yeah, this is Spire before upgrades. We usually see this off of 2 base to counter any sort of Cloak Banshee Hellion play. So this is a little bit surprising. I think it's strange that we haven't seen 2 evolution chambers go down.
We missed something very small, but I love how TLO kept a couple of his drones on the high ground in his natural. He had just had 5 or 6 drones sitting there. They were, yeah, exactly over there. They were just idling, making sure that he won't make the same mistake as he made in the previous map on Merry-Go-Round. Kind of cool to see how quickly he adapts to that as well. And he's like, all right, last game. That was silly. I shouldn't have done that.
I'm a little bit worried this is like a complete shot in the dark because last game, Flash, if anything, showed that he was going to skip just about everything to get as many Marines out there as he possibly could. So this game, I feel like Telo's just kind of queuing up like, well, maybe this is the Cloaked Banshee Hellbat or Hellion opening, and these fast mutas will have a place. But as we can see here, there's the double Evo chamber, but getting the mutas out first, like look at his money. He's going to at most make a muta or 2, and then hit what sick timing, bros.
Money's money, Jeff.
Somewhere out there is a bling fighting the beat.
There's a story behind
Flash
that as well.
is so adorable. He's so efficient.
But the good part about these mutas is that, you know, the Hellions will be completely... They will be removed from the map, and Flash is gonna have to stay passive from here. And that will allow TLO to make lots and lots of drones from here.
But again, he did that already. Like last game, he just tucked him at home, repaired him, and made Hellbats, like Rotterdam talked about.
That's true.
One of the things I'm a little bit worried about of TLO is that if he like decides to counterattack once and he loses a bunch of units, it's so easy for Flash to just grab everything that he has, or at least the majority of his units, march across the map and immediately snipe bases. Because the rush distance from Flash's third base to TLO's third or potential fourth is really not that large, and that's actually one of the most difficult things I think as a Zerg player to deal with on this map. If you lose a fight, there's almost no chance you can get enough units out and then morph them into banelings to somehow survive the counterattack.
Yeah, TLO is going to go for the big counterattack here, but Flash is knocking on TLO's door.
If I was Flash, I would probably just stick around over here. I would just trade. Like
here comes the counterattack, but
and
so many
there
Hellions.
goes the counterattack.
That's actually really cool army positioning by Flash, that he left those units at home. That's actually enough to deal with it. Now he does kind of have to worry about all these Marines in the middle of the map though. TLO is going to try to jump on this opportunity to pick off these Marines.
Oh,
he has a couple of Mutalisks as well.
Oh, he's only got 4 mutas, so getting the Madvac's kind of tough. But he is chasing it back. He's setting up the 4th base, so again, kind of keep your eye. This opening is a little bit wonky, but if he can saturate that 4th, get up to 8 gases, he can afford that mutilating baneling play, and he wasn't too far off. He took a couple of engagements off creep last game, which I think was a little bit erroneous, but other than that, he hung in there.
Something we mentioned in the start of the game is getting creep on the high ground over here on Fluxworld Labs. Extremely important as a ZVT player. Flash with that little move out cleared up a bunch of creep tumors, and now there is no active creep tumors. So it's going to take a little while before TLO start paying attention to it again. And the last thing you want as a Zerg player is just run up that ramp. You don't know where the Widow Mines are, if there are Widow Mines. But above all, you know, it's going to be so difficult for banelings to get the connections that they're looking for if you don't even have vision at first.
Yeah, and the TLO doesn't have all that many queens to work with, so the creep here is very limited. I don't think this 4th base can be mined from any time.
I'm kind of worried about it as well, Jens.
Dario's setting up like the classic 4 Mutalisks.
This army is kind of trapped for TLO. I'm not sure if Flash is aware of it, but that army...
Yeah, actually it is.
Okay,
Flash is a
friendly
god, a merciful god. He's going to back up. TLO will join up. He's always setting up the counterattack, and we talked about this in the kind of the pre-game discussion. Counterattack's very strong here, but Flash, he seems to always be in position. Look, there's Widow Mines back there. There's a bunker kind of hilariously exposed, actually, but otherwise, this is go for lane. No, it gets all the banelings, but they do detonate just in time. The 3rd is cracked, and Flash will come home. If he can get the orbital, this is a nice little pickoff.
Yeah, that's kind of nice for TLO. The fact that Flash is at least coming home. Now he's going to have a little bit of more time. So a reasonable counterattack there for TLO. Of course, it wasn't for free. He did lose more than a handful of banelings in that process.
Oh my god. He's going to need a lot of banelings.
Yeah, this army is actually insane for Flash. I wish TLO had Burrow.
This is, like, he's not making banelings right now. he literally needs to make like 20 banelings. This is not going to be close.
Probably a little more than that even. I'm not even sure if 20 banelings would be enough. The Marine count is at 72. I have no idea how Flash is
so
on that.
So many mutas, but not enough banelings. So this is going to be an extremely tough hold.
This is really bad.
TLO is going to try to engage his army from every single angle that he's out on the map, but there's just a lot of Zerglings against even more Marines, and that's in general not a fight you want to take as a Zerg player.
This is not Wings of Liberty anymore. The Lynx used to be extremely efficient back then, but in Heart of the Swarm, banelings are so much more important. And GG,
oh my God.
Flash with a very clean 2-0.
Flash did lose 32 units in that game, but it didn't really feel like it. I felt like the majority of it was SCVs and maybe a few Marines in the process here or there, but overall a flawless series by the man himself.
Yes, I think that is the highlight for this, is just how impressive Flash was, making next to 0 mistakes. His micro is immaculate with that opening Reaper, did as much damage as a Reaper can expect to do. And then every stage after it, all the counterattacks, at worst he picked up his third. That was like, TLO's going to go back and be like, guys, I got him to pick up his third. That was it, though. Otherwise, Flash was a stone-cold killer. And everything was shut down.
I think it was really worth mentioning as well, the Flash played is very conservative even. I think he took zero risks in everything he did.
It reminds me a lot of watching Innovation when he was near unstoppable in TVC, just taking things very early, not making biggest of plays with Hellions, just sitting back and keeping it cool. So yeah, very, very solid play by Flash.
Alrighty, just in a couple of moments we are going to have Sue catch up with Flash once more. Curious to see how Flash is feeling going into day 3 of Home Story Cup, of course. Today is all 4 groups will be played, and then tomorrow we're going to go into the quarterfinals that will be best of 5. Flash is not advanced yet, but if he keeps playing like this, there's a good chance we'll see him in action tomorrow as well. Smix is ready, so Sue, take it away.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Flash, congratulations on your first match victory of the day over TLO. I'm just wondering, before your match, I'm wondering if you heard the crowd chanting TLO's name over and over, and if that affected you at all, if that influenced how you went into the game at all, if that made you want to play better. Okay, 경기 전에 혹시 들으셨어요? 사람들이 TLO 막 이러는데 그거 혹시 들으셨어요? 들었으면 그것 때문에 더 이기고 싶은 마음이 생겼나요?
그런 건 딱히 없었고요. 당연히 프로니까 이겨야 된다고 생각했고, 독일이 자국이다 보니까 더 인기가 많은 건 어쩔 수 없는 사실이라 생각해서 그냥 개의치 않고 게임했어요.
So Flash says, yes, I did hear them for sure, but I am a pro gamer. I can't be I can't be too affected by things like that. And I know that he is a German player, so it's obvious that he's going to be the hometown favorite, and I knew that he would have that many fans cheering for him. So all I thought was I need to play to win, and that's why I wasn't too affected by it, and I just tried my best. Now, Flash, going into day 3, you were at Home Story Cup yesterday. You had a really great day. How are you feeling overall, condition-wise, going into day 3, and how are you feeling just overall with your group? 이제 일단 오늘 컨디션은 어떠고요? 어제는 되게 좋다고 하셨는데 오늘은 어떠고? 그리고 조를 봐서 조에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
일단 조도 괜찮다고 보여주고 컨디션도 되게 좋아요. 제가 좀 대회를 생각 없이 많이 나가다가 많이 지쳤었는데 이제 좀 고르면서 나가가지고 되게 컨디션도 좋고 최근에는 되게 좋은 컨디션으로 게임할 수 있는 것 같아요.
So he says, I'm actually feeling really great. There was a time period when I went to just every tournament without thinking about it, and recently I've been a lot more selective about it, and because of that I'm in much better physical shape, so I'm feeling really great right now, and in terms of my group I'm very happy about it as well. And I want to bring up Lucira because I overheard the Koreans speaking the other day. They were crowded around Lucira's computer watching him play, and I heard them just talking to each other and talking about how he's doing really well in Korea lately, so I'm wondering what Flash's thoughts are on that. 이제 최근에 황강호 선수가 되게 요즘에 잘한다고 들었는데 개인적으로 어떻게 생각을 하는지, 그리고 그런 것 때문에 약간 부담감이나 좀 긴장이 되는지요?
최근에 저그 중에 손꼽히는 선수라고 생각하고 소문도 그렇게 나 있고 실질적으로 해봐도 거의 최상위급 저그인 것 같아요. 그래서 되게 까다롭지만 저도 자신 있기 때문에 좋은 승부할 수 있을 것 같아요. 만약에 만나게 된다면.
So he says it's true. I've heard the rumors myself that Lucira really, really top condition. And even when I've played him myself, I've noticed that he is one of the top Zerg players, and I definitely consider him to be one of the top Zerg players. So I know that it's going to be very difficult, but I think it'll be a great match, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, last but not least, Flash, I know you definitely heard the crowd cheering TLO, TLO, TLO. Will you be able to show us the types of games where the crowd will change from TLO to chanting your name, Flash, Flash, Flash? 아까 전에 모든 사람들이 TLO 이름을 그렇게 부르고 있었는데 과연 오늘도 이렇게 경기로 멋진 경기를 보여줘서 그 사람들이 이영호 선수의 이름을 부를 수 있도록 그렇게 멋진 경기 보여줄 수 있을까요?
예, 멋진 경기를 보여드려서 플래시를 외칠 수 있도록 그렇게 해줄 수 있도록 열심히 하겠습니다.
So he says, yes, I will try my very hardest so that you guys out in the crowd will be able to chant Flash, Flash, Flash. So guys, look out for my games. Thank you very much, Flash, and best of luck. And guys, stay tuned for more action here at Home Story Cup 10.